Welcome back everyone to another oh god. Un momento. Welcome back everyone to another CranKy Ducklings broadcast to OSC mid-season playoffs number 1, day number 2. I'm of course your host Live VIP, and I'm just trying to get my camera working. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but yes, I'm your host Live VIP, and with me I'm joined by my lovely plushies. I might be joined by a lovely co-caster momentarily in a couple of games. We'll see what does happen, as we've had a pretty intense schedule, and I don't want to overwork both Yaku and Asher. Like we've got a lot coming up, so we'll see how we do here. As yeah, this is going to be a pretty intense tournament, pretty large tournament as well. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. It is massive, it is insane. Fun fact, the Wikipedia page for this tournament doesn't even have all the matches available because the bracket is just too damn big. It's so large. And what this event basically is that I'm not too sure if you're familiar with OSC. We cast OSC King of the Hill every now and then, so you should be somewhat familiar with that. But OSC is an organization that does sponsor a bunch of tournaments, and those tournaments that they sponsor do provide OSC points, and over the course of the year, over the course of 6 months even, those points are aggregated, they accumulate for all the players that participate, and we get a ranking, kind of like, I guess, I am Katowice, you know, with the EBT points, for example. We get a ranking of all the players with all their points. Similar thing here for OSC, and their main events that they do host every 6 months or twice a year, basically. And with that, depending on your ranking on OSC points, you get seeded in, you get invited, and you become a part of this tournament. And as you can imagine, a lot of players get involved. There are a lot of players that do get involved in these OSC events, so as a result, we have a very large bracket indeed. Oh boy, and a lot of matches take place. Because the bracket is so large, and because every single match gets casted, it's a tournament that gets casted over the course of like a month. there's a lot of matches, Papi. There's a lot of matches. I believe Dave Testa casted day 1. Day 1 was already casted by Dave Testa, and that was basically the round of 32. Round of 32 was casted by Dave, and we are going to be covering a part of the round of 16. I say part because on top of how large the bracket is, it's also double elimination. It is a double elimination, so every player that gets knocked out today will have another chance next time, right? They aren't going to be knocked out of the tournament entirely, so it's a big one. it's big, Papi. It's big. So yeah, we have casted these OSC mid-season playoffs before. We have done so, and there are such amazing players that take part in this. As you can imagine, in all these OSC events, you get a lot of Koreans. Dark is a part of this. Björn, Mio Micah, Geralt, Skillis, Night Phoenix, Eric is involved. Special, Mixu, Spirit, Nightmare, Baby Marine, Max Pax. A lot of good players. A lot of good players. I believe they're all OSC Elite. I believe you need to be an OSC Elite member as well to be a part of this, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, quite a lot of players, quite a lot of matches are going to be covered today as well. We're going to be casting 7 best of 3s, 7 of them. And again, these are all, I believe, all upper bracket matches. The losers get knocked down to the lower bracket. They won't be eliminated today. They'll be eliminated another day. So we're not quite there yet. This is going to be day 2, and how many days are they going to be? Maybe like 10 days. I don't quite recall how long or the length of these typical tournaments, but the prize pool is $2,000, so it's a pretty hefty prize pool, and top 16 do get paid out. So yeah, it's great to see. Again, OSC, they do provide a lot of support here for the scene. They do host a lot of events. They sponsor a lot of events, whether it's, they even sponsor Sparkling Tuna Cup, for example. They sponsor Sparkling Tuna Cup, which is one of our own tournaments. They sponsor, or they sponsored events like the Chicken Man's Open tournaments back when he used to host them regularly as well. And there used to be a lot more events in general. So yeah, it's great to be back. Great to be back once again here with OSC. anywhere between 14 and 21 matches. This is live, right? This is casted by this is a replay cast. This is casted by replays. But I believe some of the later rounds, like when we get down to like the top 8 or top 4, I believe those may be casted live. But because there are so many players involved in everything, then I believe all the replays are aggregated or collected by Eddie, the owner of OSC, and then he does distribute them amongst the casters. So the cast is live, the game's not so much. But it's all good, Poppy, it's all good. No one knows the results other than Eddie. Eddie's the only one who, and the players, they know, but we don't. So let's jump in. Let's jump into our first series. As you can see here, I haven't casted him in so long, Pop. How many best of 3s today? 7 best of 3s. Quite a lot of them. Our first best of 3, you can see here on the screen, is going to be Percival versus Ashbringer. And I'm so excited because I haven't casted Percival in so long. I know he used to stream often. I don't know if he streams anymore. He's one of the up-and-coming Korean Terrans. Like, if you're a fan of Quanta, if you're a fan of Honmono, if you're a fan of Quanta, Honmono, Jinio as well. Percival is kind of cut from the same cloth, so they're all kind of, the 4 of them, the Korean Terran bears, if you will. They're all kind of been rising up together, and I haven't seen too much of Percival recently, especially competing in these online events, so I was a little bit concerned that maybe he had stepped away from the game, but it's great to see him here and now. Is going to be going up against the European Protoss and Ashbringer. For those who don't know, Ashbringer is, of course, Asher Bro's long-lost brother. It's Asher if he was born in Europe and a Protoss player. So, you know, just a different kind of Asher Bro. Oh, he's an animal. I love him. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gresvan, we have our South Korean Terran player representing, I believe he is teamless. It is Percival. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gresvan, we have his opponents. We have the teal Protoss player representing Team Starcom. It is Ashbringer. I have called him Ashbringer before. I have called him Ashbringer while casting with Asher, bro. While casting with Asher, I have called this player Ashbringer, and I couldn't handle it. Aye. But yeah, both these players, of course, are relatively frequent competitors in OSC King of the Hill. For example, we would cast Ashbringer almost every single King of the Hill. He's a great player in his own right. A little bit cheesy at times, but we'll see how he does approach this TvP matchup instead. Oh boy, we shall see as I quickly update the stream title as well. Oh, and for the time being, everything's looking relatively normal. The other really great thing about Percival as well, and again, I don't watch his stream as regularly as other people, but from my understanding, from what I've seen from Percival, he's also a pretty aggressive player as well. I always remember in the previous map pool, like, just constant 1 or 2 base all-ins coming out from him. Not saying that he can't macro, but that's also, like, I guess another fun thing about him is that he can sometimes be a little bit unpredictable, and he's so wholesome. Not as wholesome as Jinio. Jinio, yo, if you ever tune into Jinio's streams, he is the happiest Terran player I've ever seen. I love Jinio so much, and every time I'm like, look, Asher, look, he's so happy, and he's like, oh, he doesn't know about the Smoj, Bob. He doesn't know how to Terran. Percival likewise is maybe not as upbeat as Jinio, but he's up there. I appreciate him. As here we go, behind this, we do have a second Rax being set up. It looks like the beginnings of a 3 Rax opener here from Percival, or sorry, a 3 Rax follow-up, I should say. First Reaper's going to be dipping into the main base. Going to be disrupting some of the economy. Not quite going to be able to see too much here, just confirming the Nexus, heading over to low ground, and there is that 3rd Rax. So this is something that's kind of fallen out of favor, but the last time we casted Percival, he actually did do this, to be fair. I do remember that. As, oh, this is just... Hashtag Ashbringer things. He is actually going for a Forge opener. He's crazy. And it's all coming back to me. It's been a couple of weeks since we've casted OSC King of the Hill, unfortunately. So it's been a little bit since we've casted Ashbringer, but yeah, he's like one of the only Protoss players that I know that opens up Forge first in PvT. It's crazy. So this does delay your upgrades. It delays Blink, or it delays Stargate or Charge or what have you. But it does make for a bit of a stronger +1 timing instead. It means you're a little bit more vulnerable early on, as we do see the Reaper taking a couple of hits here from that sentry. We'll be able to escape. Looking at the vision, Percival was not able to scout the tech. So he is a little bit in the dark. And this is going to be really interesting. So, as Hallucination Phoenix sees everything. Jesus. Because of the sentry opener. We see the 3x. So Ashbringer is aware of what's happening. But because he's delaying his gateways, because he delayed his charge and he's not even going for Blink, yeah, I don't know how this dynamic works actually. It's gonna be an interesting one. Oh, as Reaper does dip in behind the mineral line and does confirm +1, and it does confirm the Twilight Council as well. So typically, if we go for a Blink opener, which is a little more standard, the Stalkers would be looking to slow down this push, pick away at the Marines, and chip off whatever units we can as it moves out across the map, and hopefully bait out some stims. Because this push is going to happen without without Medivacs, for example. So every stim hurts Percival. But upon scouting the opener and upon scouting +1, the likelihood of this being charge is a lot higher. And I feel like pushing into charge lots is exactly what Ashbringer wants, right? So Percival, he's actually going to be delaying his push. He's actually going for a starport instead. So even though he opened up with a 3-racks, he's going to be looking to go for a Medivac drop. Interesting. Meanwhile, we have an SCV for Percival, going to be scouting both third base locations, confirming that Ashbringer is still on 2 bases, which is a little bit odd at this time. You know, a Protoss player would usually be expanding. Is staying on those 2 bases, taking up even further. We see why he's going for a bay. He's going to be going into either Colossus or Disruptors. And Colossi would be really smart. Colossi just completely shut down any kind of bio push. Any kind of Marine push will just get again, just stopped by that. Meanwhile, +2 is now on the way. These upgrades are going to be insane from Ashbringer. I think we casted Ashbringer versus Spirit, or maybe Ashbringer versus Cuckoo, like one of the other European Terrans, and we saw him like hit +3 so insanely quickly. It was insane. Again, something very unique here to Ashbringer. So here we go, the hallucination is going to be dipping in forward once again, and should be getting eyes on these medevacs, sees at least the Marines back at home, and is looking for a 3rd CC. As both players are just committing to 2-base play for the time being. Medevacs are now out, so we're going to be hitting here with +1, with combat shields, with a tank as well. So this is going to be a little bit later from Percival. I still think that this may be better for Ashbringer. We'll see. Like, he's got a decent gateway count. He's still got 4 gates. The army is moving out. I believe this may just have been seen by hallucination. We do see a scan, and yeah, Ashbringer, he's backing off. He sees the army. He knows that he can't necessarily hold on to his 3rd. He just has to hold on. Wait for that Colossi to pop out. The Colossus is on the way. Ooh, it has arrived, and sure, the Marines are going to threaten the 3rd and maybe even cancel the 3rd, but up! Ooh, there we go. We are able to cancel in time. Some decent force fields, but alas, they aren't able to stop the army. And upon seeing that Colossi, I love it. Percival, he backs up. He knows that he can't really tangle with this army without losing too much. He will back off and take his own 3rd CC on location. And this is okay, because again, typically the Protoss player is ahead in workers, typically the Protoss player is ahead in bases, so for the base count to be like looking even, and as we get the 3rd base up at the same time for both players, this is going to be a better position here for Percival. Goes for another scan, sees the army, could try and rotate around instead for a better angle of attack, but he's just going to be rallying more across the map. He's got 2 tanks, he's got a decent Marine count as well. Oh, but now we have a 2nd Colossi. Oh, the 3 Marine, the hit squad, let's go. Yo, we're distracting Ashbringer. We pull him apart a little bit here. Percival is getting in position, and here we go, he does stim one forward. But this is why we don't push into 2 Colossi. Oh, in the blink of an eye, we had, I think, 37 Marines, and we lost 10 of them immediately. Oof. I'm sure Percival was hoping that those Marines would distract a little bit more of the army, but we had a cannon, we had a couple of Zealots, +2 Zealots, bear that in mind, +3 already on the way, while Percival still only has +1, so again, Ashbringer's upgrades are insane. And he's already got those 2 Colossi, so yeah, just overextending a little bit, Percival was. It's crazy because he saw the Colossus. Like, he scanned ahead of time. He saw the army and he's like, well, yo, we got this. And he was punished for it. So, not too ideal here from Percival. Is forced to back off. We're getting our Sense Tower up and running. We're working on more of our upgrades as well. We still only have 1 NG Bay and we don't have... Oh, there we go. The armory is on the way behind this. So, we will eventually get into +2. But this is now looking pretty good for Ashbringer, especially after that little trade. We're getting up to 3 Colossi. From here, we can get into Disruptor production if we really want to. Instead, we're working towards a Dark Shrine. A little bit cheeky here. And we do have the freedom to do so. Like, we do have the breathing room here where we're pretty solid here on 2 bases. We have Stalkers patrolling the main base. Blink is on the horizon as well. It has been delayed, so we have been vulnerable to drop play, but because it's on the way, Ashbringer should be okay. And DTs could really catch Percival off guard. There are no turrets whatsoever. There's no Raven either. We didn't go for a standard Raven opener off of a 1-1-1. We do have scans, but it's gonna be all about the reaction time here. Because DTs, they can kill things quite quickly. Kill workers quite quickly, I should say. So we have a couple of Spotter Marines moving out. We do have a Prism slipping into the main base, but alas, these Zealots are going to get cleaned up. The Viking shuts down the Prism. That is going to slow down the DTs, as we no longer have a Prism to warp them in across the map. As the Dark Shrine does finish up. Do have an offbeat kind of Winter Mine drop here at the 10-minute mark. Very unexpected, but we do have cannons at the natural. Well, we do boost into the main base. Another cannon here as well. But despite that, we'll see how quick Ashbringer can react, as there is the... Oh, there we go. He does pull away a couple of those workers, only loses 2 probes, and he will clean this up. Again, typically, if you're not the most confident with your reaction time with Stalkers, for example, or with probes, and cannons in your mineral lines are always a great defense here against these sort of DTs. Sorry, these Widow Mines. Speaking of, we do have a DT across that, but it's not going to get too much done. It does get cleaned up. Percival with a pretty healthy worker count. He's got his 4th CC that's about to be taken. We have a Ghost Academy. We have Ghosts themselves already. We have a pretty powerful army here from Percival, and Asher, god damn it. Ashbringer unfortunately never got into disruptors. He's relying heavily on these Colossi, working up to 4 Colossi, which is a little bit overkill, but typically as a Protoss player, we want to be diversifying our splash damage, whether it's Storm or whether it's disruptors, one or the other, something else, just because we want to make sure that we have something left over if our opponent heavily commits to Vikings. And there's a lot of Vikings. These Vikings will be able to shut down the majority of these Colossi, and we need another secure way of dealing splash damage. We're going to be lacking that. We do have some Archons, like, I guess. We have a lot of Zealots as well. But with EMPs, these Archons and Zealots, they aren't going to be as effective. Meanwhile, Percival is taking up even further. You know, the dynamic does change once we get into Liberators. We have the Fusion Core finishing up. We're going to have Liberator range already on the way on that Fusion Core. And Liberators are a great way to really... Well, typically, they force out Sky Toss. Initially, you can help deal with a couple of Liberators with Blink Stalkers, but at a certain point, we do have to kind of take to the skies if the game goes long enough. And here we go. We do see Percival pushing on forward. We have the overcharge behind this. Ooh, a lot of these Vikings are going to be going down. As Percival may be biting off more than he can chew. At the same time, though, he's going for the double drop. And even though Percival is going to be losing the main fight, he is going to be taking down the 4th base. Ooh, as the Colossi swipe away, 2 Colossus go down. but only 2. And Ashbringer, he can just keep on pushing. He may have lost the base, but maybe we can break the 3rd. Well, we have tanks. We have 2 tanks waiting on top of the ramp. Ooh, both Archons go down immediately. Mine shots are going to be going off as well. The boys have to be pulled. And do we have the target firing? We do. Both tanks go down, and it looks like Ashbringer has too much. The double jump is being cleaned up as well. We have DTs. We have Zealots back at home. Again, Percival just didn't have the best engagement and a large enough army to really push into Ashbringer. You could see that he very quickly like regretted like pushing in. He was like, it's like, I gotta get out of here. And it's dropped into a lot of damage, don't get us wrong, but he kind of poked the bear a little bit too much. Ashbringer just pushing on forward. The drop has been cleaned up as well. The 2 Colossi still stand strong. And unfortunately, we also pushed without libs. Like, we just finished up lib range. Liberator range just finished, and we didn't even get to use them. That would have changed so much as well if he had just been maybe a little bit more patient. 3-3 also on the horizon. But again, I'm sure Percival didn't expect Ashbringer to commit as heavily to the counterattack. Percival's like, let's go. And then Ashbringer's like, all right. GG gets called, and Ashbringer will take game number 1. Oh, GG. A pretty solid game out of Ashbringer, and a really interesting dynamic in the early game. If you remember, he went for a charge opener with a fast +1, which was scattered, and upon seeing that, Percival was like, oh, I don't think I want to 3-racks into that. So that kind of like delayed the 3-racks as well, which made it weaker. Yeah, it was an interesting turn of events from our players, and with that, Ashbringer is going to be leading this series 1-0. Oh boy. Oh, I forgot. Oh, let's go. So, for those of you that are maybe a little bit more familiar with our OSC King of the Hill casts, you would know that for OSC King of the Hill, we have a unique map pool. We have a unique map pool where we use some of the older maps. You know, in the past, we've been using 2000 Atmospheres, or Romanticide, or Jagannatha. And that is also applicable to this tournament. We're getting some older maps. Let's go. Game number 2 is going to be taking place on a map that was active 2 years ago, I think 2 years ago at this point. It's been a while. We're loading in to Lightshade. Oh, let's go. See in the chat, Big Game Hunters? Not that old, Papi. Not that. Shaking my head. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade, we have the South Korean Terran player currently down in this series, but not out. Not yet. It is Percival. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Teal Protoss player representing Team Starcom up in this series. It is Ashbringer. Uh-oh. No, I want to see the map, puppy. I want to see the map as we are getting into Lightshade again. An old school map, but a lovely one. Very short rush distance by ground, but can very quickly lead to these split map scenarios as well. Meanwhile, we don't really care about the features of the map because Percival is going for a proxy 2-racks. Oh boy. Ashbringer is going for his probe scout, is going to confirm that, hey, a racks is missing. But in this matchup, it's not unheard of for the racks to be hidden behind the main base, here at the natural, sometimes even here at the third base location as well. You know, Bjorn would quite often do that. Maybe a couple of months ago, every single TvP, Bjorn would just refuse to make his first racks in his main. And because of that, it can sometimes be difficult to really read what's going on. He does confirm that both of these gases being taken, and momentarily should be realizing that, of course, something is amiss. He is going to be making that safety zealot as well. And Marines are on the way. We go the Marines and the SCVs. They do reveal themselves. A bunker is going to be thrown down as well here at the natural. Interesting that it's going to be Proxy Marine and not Proxy Reaper. Very interesting. As the boys are being pulled, that one pylon is going to be under threat. Can this bunker finish? That is the question. Oh boy, we do have 2 SCVs. The boys are going to be zoning away the Marines. Meanwhile, 1 SCV already goes down. Oh no! Up! 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 Oh, we're 1 swipe away from going down, and it looks like the bunker won't be able to finish. We have a second zealot as well. The RNG! Okay, he's going to be able to stay on the correct side of this bunker, but the DPS is too damn high. We do cancel the bunker. Ooh. But this does supply block Ashbringer a little bit, and hey, we're going to throw down a second bunker behind the mineral line because why not? We just got to commit, Papi. But now the Stalker is out. Stalker does focus down the SCV, cancels the bunker, and Ashbringer has defended. Percival is going to have to race back home and transition, and that probe from the early game is still alive as well. Ashbringer, he does see the factory, he sees the CC as well. He's aware that Percival is backing off. Meanwhile, Ashbringer is racing across the map. Percival is lying in wait in the tall grass. Ha! And with that, oh, okay. He's gonna be able to maybe focus down the Stalker, but no, nice control from Ashbringer. He does pull it back in time. And now Percival's in a little bit of trouble because we don't have any units left. We have 1 Marine that's being chased down, and we have 1 Widow Mine on the way. So this Stalker is going to be able to chip away at some of these workers. Is he in range of the building SCV of the CC? Oh, he is! Ay, ay, ay. 1 more worker going to be going down. More boys are being pulled as well. Ooh. And we do see a Widow Mine coming out, which should be able to clean this up. It is within range. There we go. Percival is going to be safe back at home. Does cancel that bunker. Meanwhile, across the map, we made a Marine. We landed in the main of Ashbringer, and we made a Marine. Ay, ay, ay. I'm shaking my head. Did we kill a probe? Potentially. Oh, God. 7 probes went down, but again, they were kind of pulled earlier to defend the natural. After all said and done, Ashbringer has his 2 bases, he's ahead in workers, and is now working on his tech. Meanwhile, Percival is not stopping with his aggression. We have 1 Widow Mine. I think okay, never mind. We have 2 Widow Mines. We have a medevac on the way. We are going to be going for a bit of a drop here, and there's a lot of potential with this. Of course, we're going to be scouting the main base as well and confirming the opener, whether it's a Twilight Council or a Stargate. We could also do a lot of damage. Here we go. The drop is moving out. As the drop moves out, Ashbringer is moving in. Once again, nothing at home to... Actually, nothing. The only units that Percival has are these 2 Widow Mines. Here we go. 2 Marines just pop out. The boys have to be pulled. Oh. Oh, and he pulls back. Oh, God. A little bit of an all-army there for a moment. Tank does come out in time. He'll be able to siege and take control of the main. Meanwhile, Percival, his hopes and dreams are in this drop. Ashbringer should be recognizing that, hey, that Widow Mine isn't back at home anymore. I wonder where it did go. As the drop is going into the main. Oh, but we do react. Ashbringer does spot it in time. He's able to split the boys, and yeah, he's going to be able to minimize his losses. Has to be careful not to come back too soon. Oh, 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 oh. These 2 mine shots are going to be going off. The medevac is going to try and save one of them, and it will. So a decent amount of lost mining time. And thankfully, Blink wasn't done, so we're able to escape with that medevac for now. Meanwhile, across the map, we're going to be parking our Stalkers, just picking up whatever Marines we can. 1 Marine, 2 Marines going down. Oof. Another 2 as well. Again, these are all great trades for Ashbringer. Just really losing shields and a little bit of hull damage. Oh, God! Oh, and this is a really rough move out here by Percival. He does siege up, but he takes down one of those Stalkers. But he did bleed out a lot of Marines. Behind this, we don't have a tech lab on any of our Raxes. We're just pumping out tanks. We've got a Banshee on the way. Meanwhile, Ashbringer is looking to spice things up. Glaives on the way. Oh boy. The first Banshee showing up here at the natural, but we do have Stalkers. We don't have Cloak either, so the Banshee is having a hard time dealing damage. We also had a Shield Battery kind of in range of these units. And we're essentially going for a big 2-base push. But so is Percival. Ashbringer is taking a 3rd base behind this. Percival doesn't get scouted. Ashbringer has nothing out on the map, so he doesn't see the army until now. Up! Ooh, a missed rally with that Prism. It does go down immediately. But Ashbringer is now aware of the army. He does have Blink. Oof. A tank shot does go off. We have 3 more tanks behind this. We're getting within range of the natural, and the Stalker army is zoned up. He is cut off from his own base. Shield battery goes down. Yo, Percival, he's kind of making this happen. This is getting really awkward here for Ashbringer. Probes are falling left and right. That Banshee just laying siege upon the mineral line. It looks like we're going for a full surround, but here we go. We blink on forward. 1 tank, 2 tanks are going to be going down. Oh, God, but the splash damage is insane. Is it going to be enough in the end? We've lost so many Stalkers already. And that 1 tank still going ham in the back line. It looks like Percival will barely have enough. But he does lose the bunker. Yeah, and I think there should be too much here. The winner might even getting jumped back in, and GG gets called. Whew, Percival does tie up the series 1-1. We never got to see the Glaives. GG. Unfortunately, we never really got to see the Glaive Adepts come into play, but at the same time, Ashbringer didn't have anything on the map to scout. He didn't see the army coming. He didn't know until it was too late. GG. Percival bouncing back, and here we go. We have another one of those older maps. So let me just double check. When it comes to the maps in the map pool for this tournament, we have the standard maps: Altitude, Near Humanity, Babylon, Dragon Scales, Royal Blood, Gresfan. It's fine. We also have Lightshade, Jagannatha, and Death Aura. Oh, let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Game 3 will be taking place on Death Aura. And for those who may not have been around at the time, Death Aura was one of, if not the first map to utilize the speed zones. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Death Aura, we have our South Korean Terran player. Tying up the series 1-1 in that last game, it is Percival. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Death Aura, we have his opponent. We have the European Protoss, the teal Protoss representing Team Starcom. It is Ashbringer. Death Aura, the memories about this map flooding on in. This was the very first map. I'll always remember this, by the way. This is the very first. Oh no, we got a proxy again. Okay, this time it's only 1. It's okay, Poppy. It's okay. And oh my God, it's gonna get scattered immediately. Jesus Christ, Ashbringer. He knows, Poppy. He knows. He was a part of this map pool. The probe has arrived. The likelihood of this Rax finishing is not that high, but depending on the RNG, depending on the control, the SCV, does get on the correct side. Up. Oh God, as we do have a second probe brought forward here to try and come at this from 2 angles. Up. And eventually this SCV will go down. But you know what? We have 2 more on the way. We're committed, Poppy. We're committed. We're making this happen. The SCVs are arriving. They will finish the job one way or another. Ashbringer does have a Zealot on the way. Oh my God, and now we have 2-on-2. And it looks like this Rax is gonna finish. It looks like that one SCV does the worst job at tanking for as long as possible. The Rax will finish, and we do have that Reaper on the way. Oh, pretty committed here from Percival, but you know, he's able to get the job done. And what I was about to say is that, fun fact, this is the first map, because Zerg players went wild when it happened, where the Overlord pillar is not over the natural. Up until this point, it was very standard for Overlord pillars to be over the natural base here of Protoss on the map, and this one was a little bit further out instead, and this was wild at the time. Unheard of, Papi, unheard of. Oh god. But here we go, the bunker is looking to finish up. The Reaper has arrived as well, but the Stalker gets here in time. Bunker will not complete. Reaper is going to be able to get one probe, and a little bit of mispathing there from that Stalker. Does get out in time. And back at home, we're transitioning. The Zealot has arrived, and ooh, there are no units back here, so the Zealot's going to be a little bit annoying. Is going to force some repairs out of Percival. Does the Zealot see? It does confirm the CC on the high ground as well. Go, as we did end up cranking out a second Reaper, so unfortunately we don't finish the bunker. That was the ideal scenario, is that the Rax goes unscattered, we get a bunker, and we deny mining here at the natural base of Ashbringer. Unfortunately, it's not meant to be, and these Reapers are looking to find some damage. They dipped into the main base. They haven't seen the tech yet, but I'm sure momentarily Percival will go in just for the scout. I mean, well, there are the speed zones. Speed zones here in the middle of the map. I remember like this being like a really big deal, but like it didn't really come into play. I think Death Aura was on the same map pool as Jagannatha, both of them with speed zones. And it was like, it made the rush distance shorter, sure, but we never really got to see any big fights utilizing them. The mines that will burrow here. The other big features are, of course, we have rich Vespene gas geysers here in the center of the map. When we do go to the late game and when we do get a split map scenario, this can come into play. I always remember it was D-Mega versus Bombilla, a TvP. I think I casted like a 45-minute or like an hour-long TvP on this map. I think it was in Sentimiento Latino a couple of years ago. Jesus. This was also the map where Skytoss was really prevalent. This was back in the double Void Ray openers. I would always remember Zion's opening up here, turtling up on these four bases. These four bases being relatively easy to take just because of the ramps here as well. Not just the ramps, but also the choke point. You could get up to four bases and then rush into carriers. It was disgusting. Ay, ay, ay. But before that happens, of course, here we go. We do see our two Reapers dipping once again into the natural, confirming the the Twilight Council opener as well. So Percival gets one probe kill and is able to see everything. Beautiful. Behind this, wow, that one Zealot has been so annoying here on hold position. Finally, Percival can break free, spread his wings, and take control of the natural. Oh boy, as behind this is going into a pretty heavy bio setup. We've got 4 Raxes, we've got our factory as well. We're going to be pumping out a lot of bio units, a lot of Marines. Oh, as it looks like a couple of those mine shots go off, and we do get 2 Stalkers. Nice value here out of Percival. But yeah, the memories. I remember like Swarm Host. I remember Nidus Swarm Host when that was more meta, where you would Nidus here in the top right and also here in the bottom left as well, and like send Locust Waves in towards the main and the third and the fourth. Like, oh my god, I just there's so much. There's so many memories. So many games on Death Aura. Mech as well. Mech was pretty prominent on Death Aura. I do recall that. Some repressed memories. As Percival is going to be moving out, he's pulling the boys as well for a 2-base all-in. There is no starport, no upgrades whatsoever. This is going to be scouted once again. What is it with the prism? Thankfully, this time the prism doesn't die. Stalker's going to be able to pick up some of the reinforcements here. But Percival is committed. Again, the speed zones boosting those workers across the map. Huh. And Ashbringer, is he ready back at home? We've got Zealot's slow launch charge is still not done for our Teal Protoss. Uh-oh. Tanks are going to wedge themselves in between these bases. Stalkers, they come in from behind. Charge just finished up. But we don't have that many Stalkers. Zealots, they get 1 tank, but only... Oh, no, but... Yo, the reinforcements coming in. From the right-hand side, we get a surround. The Zealots are able to clean this up. Charge finishes just, oh my god, just in time. Did you see them boost through the zones? My god, they're crazy. Oh, as we're going to be able to chase this all the way back. Oof. Felt like there was maybe a window there, but with Charge finishing up, we even get the last tank, and that is all she wrote. Percival even pulled workers to try to make that happen. The tank count has been reset. There was no follow-up. Again, the starport is delayed. There's no engineering bays, no further tech, no third TC, and Ashbringer holds onto his third. Ooh. Aye, aye, aye. And with that, Ashbringer is in the driver's seat. I see him rebuilding the prism, as I did die in the fight. But the prism is on the way. As we transition into Charge Archon. Now, trying to push into this space is going to be difficult. We do have the tank on the high ground. We've got our tank on the low ground as well. We have our bunker finishing up. Not going to be the easiest, but honestly, Ashbringer doesn't have to break the natural. Ashbringer can take a fourth, keep taking up, throw down a bay, get into Colossi. We don't have to force the issue, but we will. We don't have to, but we will. And here we go. The Chargers, they rush on forward. The bunker's going to be going down. The Zealots are getting on top of the tank, at least on the low ground. The boys are being pulled, and we even have a warping of Zealots into the main base. Zealots coming in from the front, coming in from behind. GG gets called, and Ashbringer takes the series 2-1. GG. Oh. And my condolences to Percival, my condolences. I did see, I believe Frost in the chat was saying that Percival recently had COVID, and he's been a little bit unwell, and that may also be coming into play a little bit here. I believe these matches were played recently. They were actually played yesterday. I'm just checking now. The games were played less than 24 hours ago, actually. Less than 24 hours. So it's very possible that maybe Percival was feeling a little bit unwell. So maybe not playing at his peak performance. But regardless, congratulations to Ashbringer. Really well played in the end. Able to have some good game sense as well. Catching the proxy at the start of this game. After getting proxied in game 2, to be fair, so maybe he was just a little bit more on notice about that sort of thing. And he is able to advance on in the bracket. Meanwhile, Percival, he is not out of the tournament. I mentioned it at the start of the broadcast, but this is a double elimination tournament. Double elimination, which means no one is being eliminated yet. I believe the elimination matches will be played over the next couple of days, or maybe even next week. So still have time, still have time.